was listening to the interview with the CEO of VW, and they said that they are keen to sort of expand into SA because they are making the Polo. Polo is a very loved car. The Polo Vivo.
But in South Africa, it's also quite difficult because of the levies and the taxes that are imposed.
Yes, on the fuel levies.
Into buying a car. That's what's pushing the cost of a car to be.
Yeah, the taxes problem.
The taxes are always
like if a car
way
is
too high.
It's obviously a bit of a weird thing for our economy. We've just seen someone now walk out with a brand new Polo GTI.
Yeah.
And you think in Ramaphosa's economy, people are complaining, but there's still people who are buying cars, and the guys here are selling a lot of brand new cars.
But maybe to bring back to Nico's point about South Africa we being seeing most new car sales, that tells the story of the middle class in South Africa, that actually the middle class is also growing. Or there's potential for the middle class to grow. Yes, there's credit, yes, there's debt involved, but it actually shows the impact of the growth of the middle class.
Yeah. Easy, man, easy. The VW boys are up.
Yep.
Are you guys excited to be recording here? I feel like I'm under pressure to go speak to BMW.
Welcome home.
Of course, man. There's no better place than this place, man. You can see behind us, lovely cars, guys. VW Melrose, Hatfield VW Melrose. Pull through.
Yeah.
Get your best. I don't want to say the best or nothing because that's stolen. That's already taken. But come and get yourself a very, very nice car. Proper prices, everything. Pull through.
Exactly.
And thank you to VW for having us.
Yes, thank you to
Zito, you were quite disappointed they don't have the... Which one did they stop making? Caravan?
The VW Caravel, man.
They're not going to make it anymore.
Hey, man, I have to go into the second-hand market now.
Is it discontinued or just not coming to SA?
Yeah, because the market in South Africa, people would rather buy
GTIs.
Why are you dropping names?
It is what it is.
Buy the other car.
Buy the other one.
The effing car.
Yeah, that effing car. The competitor.
But maybe we'll complain.
Yeah. Like Envy said, man, some conversations are better in the other car.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
No man.
Yeah, how are you, Cash? How's Cape Town, buddy?
Hey, bro.
Cape Town Bachelor's back.
Y'all had jokes. I really enjoyed your episode. Shout out, great episode. Thank you to everyone who listened to that episode. Nice quick hits. Especially the lot that was going on in the economy. Y'all brought the points. Actually, it was weird when you're not on the pod. It's kind of surreal too.
Yeah, you wanna talk too.
Yeah, I wanted to talk. So every time as you guys are recording, I want to interject and say stuff. But yeah, look, Cape Town was great, man. For me, normally holidays is just time to rest and de-stress. But you know how my personality is. I always stay busy, even on holiday. But for the first time ever, I was so peaceful and restful. I was like, would I move out here? I was like, nah, I like Joburg too much.
You liked it? Yeah.
It was unbelievably restful. It's like I struggled just to be still, but it was just because I was just there. First day I got there, meeting in the evening for a client, and then the rest of the time I was just sightseeing, doing tourist things, Robben Island.
Yeah. It's not too cold because the rains are there now at this time of the year, right?
That's the weird thing. Like I left Joburg. It was raining when I left Joburg, raining when we landed. But then the next day, it was just warm. It was actually colder when I got back to Joburg.
Yeah.
So
the weather there is crazy. It's
generally supposed to be rainy now, but
definitely.
It was quite warm for you.
It was warm.
And I've also seen people going to the beach and stuff, so it's been quite strange.
Yeah, it was great.
In a positive way, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, our Cape Town trip was great. The only thing is, the Joburg Bachelor, I just say that my only gripe with Cape Town is Cape Town, maybe it's where I stay, the areas I stay, your Newlands, Claremont, and Joburg. There's a deficiency of black women.
Bougie.
No.
Fun fact, Claremont has the most millionaires in the country and the most billionaires in the continent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fun fact, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, from the houses I see, houses I saw.
Claremont is dope.
Well, when they say the Stellenbosch or what monopoly capital, most of them actually have houses there. So
just the houses I saw, from going from Sea Point to Claremont to Westlake, because that's why we had a meeting there, an AGM for one of my clients. Just the houses, and it makes inspiring and demotivating at the same time. Depressing rather. It's like an episode of Top Billing. Like it's like I could live like this if I work hard, maybe. But at the same time, it just seems so. It's like a goal that's so aspirational and so high. It's like, will I ever make it to this bracket? Because the houses there are just unbelievable. Just like from the architecture, and some of them are. You can look at a house and see this is a greenhouse, like an architect focused on making this energy efficient, not just from panels, just the designs, the sun, and just well maintained. So I was just like, man, and then the cars, whew, I mean, we hold our own, but out there, like, because it just, most coastal places have just got a more slower vibe to it. Like in Joburg, you see a lot of sports cars, but mostly on the weekend, Santon, Dainfern, Kyalami.
And also Joburg, it's a bit tricky for people to actually drive some of their nice cars, man.
True.
With the crime and all of that,
Exactly. So,
but I was gonna say, man, in the spirit of cars, I guess, gents, maybe let's say, while we're here with VW, I guess, maybe we can actually have a proper conversation about cars.
Yep.
It's crazy. I always hate this shit when you have to talk to the basics, Like,
Tizo's not a fan. I'm actually the opposite. What does this mean for the average South African?
But I guess, like, I suppose it's funny, like, it's always one of those funny indicators of the economy, like whenever people say the price of burger, or sometimes, they also look at the car manufacturers and the prices of cars and the sales.
The new vehicle sales.
Yeah, that stuff is down. So I guess that speaks something. And I suppose you guys saw, like, Mercedes is retrenching. So 400 people, you know what I mean? They issued the Section 189s, and for a plant, that's a plant. Like, that tells you something.
Yeah. They make the C-Class, right?
Yeah.
I just saw Mercedes just released the new, the facelift C-Class now. And then
Probably
at the same time, they announced that, and then easily or more. I mean, the previous one with the screen in the middle was around that, right? So, so they announced the car, and then at the same time they announced the retrenchment of the people. But it's quite sad, to be honest, because we do export quite a lot of cars. I mean, we if you think about the Amarok, you think about the Ford Ranger, the Polo. We hear Polo.
Even BMW and Roslyn.
BMW. So we do export quite a lot of with the 3 Series. We do export quite a lot of cars. So it's quite sad to see, like, and to see the retrenchment. But I think things like load shedding. I was listening to the interview with the CEO of VW, and they said that they are keen to sort of expand into SA because, I mean, they are making the Polo. Polo is a very loved car, the Polo Vivo and all of that. But the issue is load shedding.
Especially for production.
Manufacturers are exempt up to stage 4, depending on the agreement that they have for load shedding. But the problems come in stage when 5. You get more than stage 4, or the unpredictableness of of electricity supply. And we are competing with global guys. I mean, they could easily move the Polo somewhere else, South America. So we have to think more in a competitive nature, because VW headquarters in Germany, they think global. They don't think jobs South Africa, right? The CEO here will probably go punt for them to say, bring this car. What car do we bring next to produce in South Africa, and all of those things, right? Because I guess then that talks to Eskom. But I mean, Eskom has been good, obviously, over the last few months. We hope that continues. It appears that they are turning the corner, the tide a little bit. So I hope that works.
I think we all thought soon after elections things are gonna go bad, but
so far so good. I've heard one or two, but to Nico's point, one thing I think with car vehicles and why it's a measure, especially in South Africa being an economy where credit is quite important, they measure that in terms of new purchases. It's almost like one of the economic performance indicators to say, affordability wise, can people qualify not even just to buy new vehicles being the main barometer. And what you'll find is if people are not able to afford like new vehicle sales, I mean buy new cars rather, it speaks to just disposable income. It speaks to affordability and to a high level, I suppose, in terms of it's one way, like the Berger index that Teaser mentioned, is it just speaks to, okay, if people can't buy cars, then what's South Africa performing like, irrespective of the rand or how the markets, like the stock market is doing? Because if you look at, especially in Gauteng, most people in some shape or form, you need a vehicle, because unlike other countries, the public transport system is mostly taxis, where the other countries will have cabs, rooftop buses, subways especially. I mean, in places like London, San Francisco, wherever there's a subway, there are people who actually don't even need to have cars.
Yeah.
But in South Africa, it's also quite difficult because of the levies and the taxes that are imposed.
Yes, on the fuel levies.
Into buying a car. That's what's pushing the cost
yeah.
of a car to be.
Yeah, the taxes probably
the taxes
about
are
40% of it. Like if a car
way
is
too high.
if it's 100,000, about 40,000 of that price it's purely taxes.
So obviously that will, especially in a developing market like this, that's affordability now become that puts the question of affordability to be much more.
Yeah.
It's actually a good thing you mentioned almost developing market. Yeah.
No, sorry, Kesh. I was gonna say almost everyone who is a foreigner coming into South Africa is surprised at the number of new cars or luxury cars that they see in South Africa for a developing economy.
Yes.
If you go to any other emerging market economy, you see a lot more second-hand cars than brand new cars, right?
Yeah.
So it's obviously a bit of a weird thing for our economy. We've just seen someone now walk out with a brand new Polo GTI. And you think in Ramaphosa's economy people are complaining, but there's still people who are buying cars, and the guys here are selling a lot of brand new cars as well. And we used to speak about VW, for example, as being an entry level sort of brand, but I think they have moved up now into
middle segment,
into the middle to higher segment.
The Asian car makers have become the entry. If you look at it, you know what I mean? Your Kias and
your Hyundais.
And
I think now with Chinese makers, also I think it's a progression, because if you look at like your Chery, your Omoda, your Proton, those guys they're competing because they offer more in terms of what you get standard, and overall they've improved their quality. I think the market has changed. As much as cars are pricey, yes, you can get a Chery Tiggo Pro. It's not an advert, but I'm just off the top of my head. Or you can get an Omoda, you know. Omoda.
Yeah, no,
so
Kesh.
the feature, I think that I just wanted to add, because you are making a good point, that in terms of purchasing, one, people are still purchasing, and also two, VW and those brands, like the Polo used to be the starter pack, the starter kit, your Ford Figos and them, but now they've upped in terms of what you get. So now you find the Chinese brands, they are now filling that market. So, if you travel on the continent, you'll see like SADC and the rest of the African continent, because also South Africa doesn't let you import like some of those reconned ex-Japanese vehicles. So you see a lot of those in the rest of the continent. So now that's why almost with credit and card, that's why you see new vehicles, like you're saying, as compared to other developing markets.
Maybe to bring back to Nico's point about South Africa seeing most new car sales, that tells the story of the middle class in South Africa, that actually the middle class is also growing. Or there's potential for the middle class to grow. Yes, there's credit, yes, there's debt involved, but it actually shows the impact of the growth of the middle class in South Africa.
And you can pin it down to multiple things. I think the first one for me, it's like, as soon as your car is over 100K with the service plan, maintenance plan, sometimes people just don't want to buy new cars. But the risk of you're going to have to pay 20, 30K if something goes wrong,
pocket,
scares you into buying another car. You know what I mean? So I was going to say that's one thought, but then I wanted to balance it with this as well as we have the conversation. Buying these new cars at the prices that they are way too expensive. So that introduces the balloons and the residuals, and I know a lot of people struggle with that concept. Paying a car over 10 years sounds crazy, because if you buy a car that's going to cost you R1 million, you can't pay R1 million in 5 years unless if you have that disposable income to pay it over 5 years. It's just too expensive. So the model that the banks use, or the financiers, is they say take a 30%, 40% residual, and then after 5 years, you're gonna have this big balloon that you gotta refinance.
For another
That's
3
another
years,
thing that makes people say, instead of refinancing, just give me another new car.
Teaser, can you just explain why residuals, balloons are not as bad as people make them out to be? Like, your logic behind it.
So look, what makes the residual bad is obviously if you don't take care of the car, come the end of the contract, the car doesn't worth the residual.
Yeah.
And now you still owe the bank. I get it. That's when it becomes really bad. And also just, I guess, paying the car for such a long time. But to me, what's not bad about it, it's if you look after it, bruh, the car actually retains value. Like if you think about it, most of us don't buy a new car. We always buy second-hand cars. That's someone that's used it for how long? For 3 years or 4 years, right? And then they sell it. When you buy it the first time, you're going to finance it over 60 months too.
Yeah.
That tells you the longevity of that car. You know what I mean? And then, or sometimes we even finance it over 72 months. So it tells you a car can actually last longer than 10 years. If you look after it. That's the thing. You got to look after it. But to me, the biggest thing is, I suppose, it's just managing your cash flows. You know what I mean? After, when the residual is due, bro, they give you another 2-3 years to pay off the remainder of the amount.
Maybe also touch on these bespoke finances that these brands have now. There's VW Finance, there's BMW Finance, Agility, whatever.
Yeah.
Isn't that also a key to also improve new vehicle sales as well?
Yeah, you see, some of those are not so great because then they introduce the concept of like you leasing a car. And then they attract you with like you're gonna pay 8,000 on a C-Class. You know, paying 8,000 sounds great because if you were to buy it, you'd probably have to pay, let's say, 20,000.
Yeah.
So if you compare the rent amount, that's what you're making. But what they say is, then you gotta drive, say, 20,000 a year, kilometers. If you go over that, they're gonna penalize you. You know what I mean? You gotta bring back the car in after 3 years. It mustn't be over, let's say, 45,000 kilos.
Yeah.
If it's
also,
over,
there's sort of
so they want you to use it, but use it moderately.
Yeah, be conservative.
Look after it.
Yeah.
But then again, the thing is, what most people don't like is after 3 years, then you're paying 8,000 for what if you don't keep the car? You know what I mean?
You're gonna have to return it and get another one.
Correct, because then you are essentially leasing it.
Yeah.
You know, it's not yours. Because unfortunately, you're gonna have to take it back. That's how that contract is set up, and that's why you are paying 8,000 instead of 20,000.
And this is all like financial engineering to use those terms because of the pressures that we are seeing in new car sales. Prices, sorry. I was looking at, for example, there's this person that I know who once bought a Golf GTI, right? A Golf 7 GTI, white in color. A friend of mine. He bought the car for around 460, 470K. Brand new secondhand, as I call them, or demo. And then this is in 2016. In 2024, to buy a Golf 8 equivalent, brand new secondhand Golf 8, you paying double the price. Surely, we can talk inflation, we can talk technology, we can talk everything. That's insane. And I know the rand. We blame the rand. The rand was at 13 or whatever in 2016, 17 versus now. But even if you work that out, the inflation is insane on new vehicles, older models versus newer models. And I mean, we can use a Polo in front of us as an example, right? A Polo went from 180K around the same time to now where we're looking at 450, 500,000 for a Polo. I'm not talking about a GTI, by the way, right? So I'm just talking about pure car inflation, right? And just to wrap up my point, the plus side of this, a Polo Vivo, I have a Polo Vivo, by the way. A Polo Vivo, I bought a Polo Vivo for 160,000 Rand in 2019. My Polo Vivo now, the second hand, I tried to buy another Polo Vivo.
It's more expensive.
It's more expensive. The same with, there's so many brand cars that, especially if a model sort of goes towards the discontinued phase or is the entry level model or whatever, the inflation on those things and the value retainment on those cars is crazy. I mean, if you have 160,000 now and you go try and buy a Polo Vivo, you're not getting the same quality Polo Vivo as mine, for example. You know, and I got my Polo Vivo almost new. I think it had like under 10,000 kilos on when I got it, right? So it was used. It was a demo vehicle basically. So that just talks to, I guess, the pros and the cons of inflation. I guess those who bought their cars can probably trade in their cars at the similar prices if they kept the cars well. I mean, I was driving 9Ks to work mostly, so not really that much. So it's stuff like that that I think then we have to counter the, I suppose the increase in car prices.
I think what I found is that the second-hand market is actually more expensive than, in some cases, than
do you know why? To Nico's point, it's because yes, inflation and the prices are going up, but for some of the more entry-level vehicles, so what you find is it's a trend that you'll see with cars as the economy like fluctuates. People will then trade in the more high-end vehicles and get the reliable runners per se. Or if I have a car that's a bit of a guzzler, I might need something that for the weekly commute. So those cars, they're gonna go up in terms of, even if it's secondhand. If it's a low mileage, well-maintained Polo, the price will go up because those cars become more popular as things become more expensive. Okay, do I have the C-Class where I'm paying 20,000? If I'm downgrading, what am I getting? Okay, I don't want to downgrade too much, but let me get maybe low mileage Polo, 2-liter, all the bells and whistles where I'm not going to pay the 20. So on the second-hand market, low mileage, those retain their value well, because all of it is just the playing of people looking to see where they can save, managing their finances, because obviously outside of your bond payment, the next big thing comes probably is your car insurance, your life policies, if you have those kind of things. So it's one that people may scrutinize more to say, look, if I'm gonna downgrade, what kind of vehicle am I getting?
So out of interest, have you guys tried to sell a car that's got a bond, that like the one that's financed? You know,
that's still owing.
I've never had to try and sell a car where I owe the bank, right? I've always wondered, like, let's say if you have a car, you bought it for 200K and you owe 120 on it and you're trying to sell it. I've always wondered, like, do you make profit? Do they just settle the bank? Have you
I have when we moved from that small one to the CX3.
Yeah.
But you have to, it's a deal that you have to negotiate.
Right?
You have to negotiate. So, but we made like 60K extra on that car, and then we deposited it into. Okay, so but it's a deal, like
because what I've seen is whenever you're trying to go, they always ask you what's the settlement. So do they actually value the car, or they're trying to find out how much you owe the bank?
But you must also come and like, look, this is my settlement, but this is not the value of the car. The value of the car is this.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You have to make the distinction to say, look, I owe this, but in the market, the current value is this.
But this is a value, because the car at the time when we traded that car, I mean, like, we were still fairly new. I think it had like 30-something Ks. And this guy, but when you look at the value of a car, it's much more expensive because we're paying ahead.
You had paid a deposit.
We had paid a deposit in that other car, we were paying ahead.
Yeah.
And then, like, now you can't say you want to settle, but the
balance. The balance is a selling price,
So you have to, but again, it's a dealership thing. Like, there's something interesting that I read this morning before I came to record. We went to one dealership, they wanted to screw us, then we went to another, and the guy's like, no, I'll give you
a fair price.
I'll give you a fair price.
It's like negotiating for a bond.
We'll touch on it after this point, that servicing of a car. I didn't know that if you service your car in Sandton, it's much more expensive than if you can service it in Val or wherever. I didn't know that the rates are different. Stuff like that. So even like exchanging your car, selling a car that's financed. It's a deal that, but you have to know the value of the car.
No, you certainly have to negotiate. I deal with cars a lot, obviously. I do sell a lot of cars and buy a lot of cars.
Avuni car rentals.
Avuni car rentals. If you wanna rent a car, hit me up. But anyway, I have sold a few cars, like when I have a limit in terms of how long I keep cars and all of that, and I do finance. Value has dropped below what I still owe, and I've been in the opposite where I am gonna get out some money. The easiest place for me where I've sold my cars is to We Buy Cars. We'll touch on We Buy Cars just now, but also at dealerships. What I've sort of done is I've sort of you can get your car valued like a house. Can get a market value for your car and prove.
Just so that you know what price you can
Even VW has a book sort of thing, like a rubric type of thing, where they go down, 2016 this way,
Should
mileage
work
this way,
this way.
condition medium, blah blah blah,
Okay.
and then it shoots out a value for your car. So there's something like that online that you can do, and then you can print it out and negotiate with that specific thing. And most of them do ask you what's the settlement value, blah blah blah. It's within your right to tell them you don't want to tell them. To say that you don't want to tell them what the settlement value is, they must give you their fair price, and then you negotiate from there. And because a lot of guys get paid commission, the salespeople get paid commission. If they've already identified a car, they can play around, I think, within the commission levels to try and compensate here a little bit to make more somewhere else. That type of thing. You can speak to the manager, you can do all of those things. I bargain until the last second, so I've spoken to everyone in the dealership if I have to. So you can definitely get something out of it, even if you believe your car is valued at X, and you're not a desperate buyer for your next car. You can simply walk away, walk to the next place, and you'll start to get a feel of what your market value is. But it's more time consuming, so we obviously busy and all of that. So you kind of go with what's convenient for you when you're buying the car and all of that.
Interesting. So something happened to me also recently. Shem, my brother wrote off a car at my house. There's a car that I had bought for my parents. And then they got into an accident, and then the insurance wrote it off. And I suppose I had went through this at some stage, but this one was different because the car was actually fully paid up. I bought it for 150 at the time. And then when I insured it, I actually insured it at retail value. There's those options.
We must talk about that as well.
Where you want to insure, but I insured it at retail value. So we bought it in 2016, bro. Like, it's 2024. The car is actually 8 years old, essentially. And the insurance, when they valued it, and they were like, look, the car's worth 135.
Jeez, that's decent.
You know what I mean? I was like, what? So, and I'm like, shit, I had forgotten about this. I never compare like the retail price or the from insurance perspective, but it was so interesting because if they had to settle, when they had settled the car, that's the price they pay. They're not gonna argue with you. They're not gonna say,
because you chose retail over market value.
Yes, you know what I mean. And obviously, then the premium was a little bit higher because you chose retail. But I was like, man, this is great for 8-year car. The insurance actually covered, say, 90% of the price. Like 8 years later, like that was so brilliant for me. Like,
exactly. I'm glad you're making that point, because sometimes when people have these conversations, it's just perspective. Like for you, you made the conscious decision. Let me pay a little bit extra in terms of my premium. I'm insuring it at retail. That's paying it forward, so that now they'll cover most of it in the event of something happening. But I think when people make those decisions, it's just they think now.
You don't think accident.
You don't think accident. You think it's gonna be written off. You don't think it's gonna be stolen. You want like the old adage, if you pay peanuts, you get money.
I wanna share a story quickly. I'm full of stories, as they say. I wanna on Cash's point now, right, about taking insurance seriously and not really thinking about the now. So I shared it on WhatsApp recently. So I bought a brand new car, not a brand new, you know me, brand new second-hand car, and then
good condition, no mileage.
Yeah, brand new in my eyes. So for business, and then the car was for business. Bought it on a Saturday. Saw it obviously this time on Saturday. Went to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I had my first client, rented the car out. The client was in Sandton. On my way to Sandton, I stopped at PG Glass to get the, you have to do an inspection when you take out insurance. Yeah, I do the inspection on my way to work in the morning because I saw PG Glass in traffic and stopped. Drop off the car, client goes to Durban for Comrades, comes back, writes off my car.
Jeepers.
I only saw my car. I was going to work during the week, so I never really saw it until I drove it back again.
On Friday.
And then the car was written off. I got... this is where it gets scary with insurance, right? When I bought the car, I said before that I negotiate for days, right? I bought my car at, I think, 40,000 Rand or so less than the retail value because it had some issue that I had to sort out later, blah, 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 blah. So I bought the car. I insured my car at retail value. Retail value, I think I actually paid 320 and the car was 360. something along those like retail value. And then insurance paid me 360,000 rand.
Okay.
But after a lot of hassle, I had like a private investigator go to the scene and do everything because I claimed within 1 week, and I got and I paid one premium. And what I paid, when I showed them proof of what I paid versus what they were going to pay me out, it created a lot of problems. They lost a lot of money.
You probably paid a proportional insurance. You didn't pay for the full money.
Yeah, I didn't pay for the full money.
Yeah, you played poor ratchet for when you got it.
So it talks to the importance of
having
you
insurance.
getting your car and thinking, nah, I'll do this later. When insurance says you must send them pictures or all of those things, the excitement, like, nah, I'll do this later, I'll do this later.
Yeah.
I literally lost the car within 7 days, like completely written off. And luckily I was covered. And they actually went to PG Glass to check if I didn't go do an inspection after, because the inspection sheet has
got a time and
dates
date
and
time.
numbers. So they went to see if I didn't
fraud.
go and sneak
After the fact.
So I spoke to the guys there. They told me that the private investigator went. The process took 4 months for them to pay me out.
Jeepers.
That's how
thorough they are.
I was on the phone almost every day with them, asking questions.
The other side.
Yeah, they did background checks properly on me for like that, and then eventually they paid me out. So I made a young profit.
Yeah, but I think, Nico, your point is it's good because you hear the horror stories of people buy cars, you factor in the insurance to make it more affordable. You pay the first premium, you cancel, and as luck would have it, they have an accident. After cancelling your insurance on the first
I'd like to make a point on, I've got a story as well. Teacher's always on my case about why I pay what I pay for insurance. Because I don't want issues. Like, the car that I gave my little sister.
Your insurance has no excess.
Has no excess. I don't mind paying.
You will pay the maximum so that
Chief, I want to be covered. I want to be covered.
You value peace of mind.
My point is that when I said to Jesus, like, look, if you want peace of mind, you have to pay for it.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Even now, with the car that my mom is driving, that insurance I'm paying comprehensive because I want peace of mind.
Yeah.
I don't want to be. I've seen stories where somebody pays like 700, 500 insurance, and then now you have to claim it's an it's an issue.
You can't do those silly conditions. To be honest,
I'm on one of those insurances
for one of your cars.
No, you know what? How I negotiated with my the insurance guy on the phone. I told him, how many kilos do you think I drive? Bro, I work 6 kilometers, 7 kilometers. I park my car by 8:30, my car is parked. At 6, I start again. 15 minutes, I'm home. I drive on Saturday, here now, and then Sunday church or whatever, golf, whatever. You can't charge me the same price as someone who's driving 100 k's to Pretoria and back. Surely.
They are
I'm like, hey, go talk to your actuaries and go rework my price. And then, but I don't. Obviously, it's recorded, so I don't know now if I end up driving longer. But I'll cross the bridge when I get to it.
No, but as much as it's a funny point. What I do like, what's coming out consistently is, with cars, always negotiate, always ask questions,
I think
always probe. You have to negotiate. I think most people don't even know, and you find with your first car, first purchase, people just take what they get.
That's why also, like, I hate the thing of, like, the layman's. Like, bro, you just gotta be a negotiator, to be honest. If you negotiate, you will just generally get screwed.
I think, look, I think for me, why I was trying to speak to that side of the layman is just educate, because people generally just don't even know. Like, the fact that, look, it's funny that one, you have to negotiate. Some people don't even know that you actually can negotiate. It's like we speak on properties. When things are down, most tenants don't know that you can negotiate your rent when you're looking for a new place. Because if a landlord is hard-strung, they would rather take a less rental than have the property standing vacant. But most people see the advert, they think it's cast in stone, it's not movable. But especially when I like Nico because he thinks as an entrepreneur, always looking to save a buck as a business owner. But I just like that mindset of always look to make a saving, because it does kind of, you benefit somewhere, especially if you're just looking as an individual, overall disposable income. Like if you're managing the household finances, if I can pay less on a premium, let's say for argument's sake, if you say I'm going to save 300 Rand on my monthly insurance by negotiating. Doesn't seem like much, but 300 times 12 in a year, that's you save 3,600 Rand.
That covers your service for Polo.
It adds up, exactly.
I was going to ask you, Nico, man, before we wrap up, because we don't want to go for too long. So I guess the other thing is like, because now people, there's obviously this, you know, this thing of like trying to buy cars on We Buy Car website. You know, versus auctions. And I suppose We Buy Cars is they're just dominant in the market. But unfortunately, you gotta watch out for buying like cars that actually have
I would love to. I would love
We
to.
Buy Cars.
I'd love to speak to this point.
We Buy Cars killed my business, man. Let's start there. I have a huge gripe with We Buy Cars. Remember, I used to sell cars before COVID.
Yeah.
We Buy Cars comes through, takes 60-70% of second-hand car market. Everything goes like down. No one is buying cars from private. So I used to sell cars like under 100K. 50, 60, 70,000, whatever, from auctions, right? So so I think Teaser, to answer your question, We Buy Cars has taken up a massive chunk of the second-hand car market. Maiza made a point earlier that second-hand car prices are actually go higher than new sometimes, simply because of places like We Buy Cars. If you think about, We Buy Cars is selling 13,000 cars a month. In second-hand cars a month. That's insane.
Or 13. 30 or 13?
No, 13,000.
Okay.
They aim to sell 25,000, I think, in the next 5 years or so. They filled the dome with cars. I've recently bought a car from the dome. We Buy Cars, and when I speak to people there, they're like, they get to the dome, they feel overwhelmed by the number of cars that they see, and they simply walk away. You have to almost buy the car online and then go view it
in person.
Otherwise you won't. It's not a good experience to too many cars. And so that pushes prices up, right? And so I think on the auction side of things, I've seen guys, generally the dealerships that we see on the side of the road selling second-hand cars, they buy their cars from auctions mostly, and obviously trade-ins and things like that. But most of the time they go to auctions.
The guys that sell cars on auctions, what are those? Because for me, it's like buying a car on auction is not an issue, but I want to buy a car of someone that defaulted
bank repo,
than the guy that's selling his car because it's broken.
So you get a bit of both. You get guys who have cars that have been
repossessed.
You know your car's gonna get repossessed, so you strip it. You do this. You know, I think SA Taxi came up with a story like that where the taxis were getting stripped, parts being exchanged, and all of that. So you know that your Polo is gonna get repossessed. Sorry, you go look. You know you're gonna buy a 50,000 rand Polo. You start buying the 50,000 rand Polo, changing parts. By the time it gets repossessed, it's junk basically, right? I've seen that a few times. I've bought a car, Mercedes C180 on auction, that had a dent. I thought it only had a dent on the door. It didn't. The engine didn't work. The gearbox had issues. The brake system, I had to replace the Mercedes brake system.
Report doesn't mean anything.
No, so you only get a DECRA report, which was recently introduced by We Buy Cars. It was not there. Auction houses don't have to. You buy footstoots.
It's footstoots,
And the best they can give is to start the car. You can't drive an auction car. The best.
I don't move out. Somebody else will buy it.
Someone is gonna buy that car. They take it or leave it.
So literally, if you drive out the auction and like the gearbox stores, that's on you.
Essentially, that's what footstoots. When I picked up a car from the auction house, the West Bank auction house, I saw a guy who bought a Mercedes, not a G60, a GLC 63. Sorry, that thing didn't move. You buy the car on auction day, whatever. A day later, they park your car there at the gate.
At least up front to say it's got an engine problem.
They sometimes do disclose like
what they can pick up.
Like hailstorm
damage.
It's resprayed or whatever. They're not gonna tell you your car has an engine knock or whatever unless it's visible.
And there's nowhere to find out.
You can bring your mechanic.
I've seen people go with mechanics.
I normally video call someone if I don't understand or if I want to check or whatever, like one of our mechanics or something like that. But it's literally on you, right?
So the responsibility is yours because it sounds like such a big risk. I guess the benefit is like if you buy a car at an auction, you might actually pay like 100K less. Let's say if the car is 200, you might get it at 150, 120 at an auction.
For all the
big risk.
For all the horror stories, there are people who've literally like I've gone like my first car I went to a lot of bank repo auctions, so your Orco, your Birchmoors, and there are people where like the auctioneer will say you got it at a steal because you get like a C180 for like less than 100,000 because.
The one that works.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think the only challenge with auctioneers is like sometimes if there's a reserve price, you're not gonna get it for. They won't go lower than that.
Yeah.
But if there's no reserve price and you bid 100,000 for a car that's worth 250, they will take that because it's already. So that's so some people you do get lucky, but you also do hear those horror stories.
I wanna highlight some pitfalls also, man, because I think auctions are over sensationalized or whatever because. The first one is the auction price. The hammer price excludes VAT and the commission. Commission is normally about 2,500, 3,000, somewhere around there. Then you need to add the VAT on top of that. 50%. I normally take the price and add 20%. You get a rough idea of how much you're paying for the car. So the issue I've had and why I've had to stop the business is because the prices I've seen at auctions now, if you add that 20%, if you are a reseller, you almost at you almost at a dealership price. So which makes it very, very difficult for me to compete because why come buy from me if you can buy at a dealership?
And also you can't claim VAT.
Yes, and I can't claim VAT. Yeah,
unless if you register the business.
Yeah. Which I obviously did not register VAT for. Thanks, Steve.
But I'm saying if you formalize it, it might work because if you get to claim your VAT or if your business is VAT registered.
No, for sure.
And then that might make sense. If you corporatize it, perhaps.
But at the same time, if you're buying a car to keep it, right? It's a different conversation to me who was in because I still need to build in my fat, right? Maybe that fat for you is the benefit that you get for going to an auction. But that's the first pitfall. The second pitfall is I think you can't be a layman and go buy at an auction. You need to have someone with you.
Correct.
You need to do your research. I used to spend like a lot of hours looking. You download the auction list. You then move and check the retail values of the cars, have your limits. This is the maximum that you're bidding, pre-VAT and all of those things. And don't get excited because people go with egos. I go there with Miser, and then Miser starts bidding 20,000 rand more than me, and it's a crowd of people. I say 40,000 rand. I've seen a lot of people who go to the auction for the first time feel like they want to show that they have money, giving the auctioneers a lot of money, and go walking out with a car that's even more expensive than what it would be at a at a dealership. So that for me,
egos come to play.
Egos come to play. So that having a mechanic, knowing what you're really going to pay and all of that is the
walk
key.
Away as well.
You must take time. Buying a car from an auction is not. I need a car next week. I'm going to an auction this week. You need to, if you want a good deal, you need to follow auctions. You need to be there every week. You need to check.
Plus,
be ready to buy a register.
You need experience.
You need experience.
Most auctions, what they do is if the auction day is on a Saturday, on Wednesday they open up the floor for you to go and check the cars before auction day. So you can do that. So as you see. Most auction days, there's actually like the dealers, they have clipboards because they're there to buy lots of cars. They normally just stand in them back in the middle because they've come Wednesday, they've pre-checked, they've spoken to the sales guys on the floors. And because whenever I look for cars buying in the second-hand market, you'll find when you go on the day before the auction, the viewing day, there's guys on the floor who tell you, some of those guys are honest. If you strike up a good rapport, like, my guy, this car is an R-line, but look under the hood, the brakes, this, so it's excellent. They'll tell you, leave this one alone. It's going to give you more hassles. So that's what, to Nico's point, you don't go buy in a rush. Like I always give myself months. So like I've gone periods where I'm using Uber and I'm taking my time while I'm putting funds aside. I'm doing like mad research because you don't want to inherit someone else's problem. And even with the ego thing at auctions, because you're there to buy one car, you're competing with the dealers who are there to buy many cars. So like Tisa rightfully said, walk away because you end up spending more for a second-hand vehicle than you could have got it at We Buy Cars or another used dealership.
Fantastic. We're almost there, gents. Should we wrap it up? Or you guys wanna do? I
wanna make. I'm passionate about cars. Firstly, so sorry.
We must open Nico's cars.
I wanna make 2 points. Right. The first point is I want to talk about salespeople who manipulate people into buying cars quickly. I'll speak for a minute. There's a thing that if your car is written 130,000, you're gonna walk out of there paying more than 130,000. Firstly, there's this licensing and delivery fees that they add on 5,000 something. You don't have an option. I don't want them to do my license. I don't want them to deliver my car. I'll come pick it up. They've actually never delivered any of the cars I've bought, but I've paid delivery fee. So it's one of the points that I struggle to understand.
Like for them to waive it.
I've taken them on like many times to say.
But they do, like, why not add it in the price of the car?
And show it there. Show it on the price. And I don't know why. I don't know why they don't. Dealerships don't do that. And Ombudsman doesn't take car dealerships on that point. So it's one of the points that I think needs to be taken seriously. And
we'll ask these guys about it.
Yeah. We know we can ask them about it. And then lastly, on we buy cars, right? We buy cars. If you finance your car, they force you to take out a warranty plan, whether the car is still under warranty, or they have a separate, I don't know if they own the business or not, but there's a separate side of things where there's like a 30,000 whatever amount that they add on. Yes, because they say they say the bank insists on this thing. I think because of the horror stories we buy cars has had on social media, we've seen. So now when you buy a car under finance, they force you to take out a warranty plan. And all of these costs combined, you have like a 20,000 rand out of nowhere on the value of the car. The car is cheap when you buy it, but then you must think about the add-ons. And for new buyers, the people are excited. They don't care. They just tick. They sell you a service plan. We buy cars as like a whole package of things that they sell you on top of. They sell you insurance. That I think they work with some of the insurance guys as well. That they deal with. And then I think lastly, I wanted to ask you guys. What since we're at VW, right? Which VW car resonates with you the most, and which one do you think about? Like when you think VW, the first one.
Let me go first.
Wait.
You can even talk like retro or now or whatever.
Let's go. So like quick hits before I answer, Nico. We see that agents are coming out now. Interest rate cuts are being priced in. People should be careful. Look, don't rush into. I know we're all here. But like, don't rush into get into debt, buying a new car or whatever. Think about it. Look at affordability. Yes, and those who already have finance, I mean, like, take a breather. It's not like, don't go and exchange cars. But I see the reason why I'm raising this point is that I see that now property agents and other sales agents now starting to drive people into getting into more debt. But be more when you come to VW Hatfield, think about it. Look at your car.
Go for what you can afford.
Work with what you can afford.
Be prudent.
But VW Hatfield, as I said, Melrose, right?
Melrose, yeah.
Yeah. So when I walked in here, the first car that I thought about is a VW Caravelle, dog.
I love a Caravelle.
VW Caravelle, man.
But you like the bougie one, the new one, right?
No, I like the Caravelle. That's I think there's a Combi, then there's a California, which is a camper.
Yeah.
But I like the Caravelle, man. But I'm sad that it's getting discontinued. So
are they discontinuing it for SA or completely?
For SA, because a lot of people don't buy.
The sales, yeah.
But
the other brand is also very strong. It is what it is.
Yeah, that effing car.
Yeah, bro. I'm still probably gonna get it. I like the Golf 4 GTI.
Golf 4 GTI.
I think Cash had it at some stage.
Classic, bro.
Like, I love that.
Classic.
Cash, I think it's not an appropriate platform for you to share the stories.
Yeah. I swear. Like, I think like, the other way to actually deal with cars is, and I know South Africans, we deal with a lot, but sometimes actually having two cars, that's what helps you protect your cars.
Yeah.
Sometimes actually have two cars. You gotta just have. Then that's how you don't put too much mileage on
yes,
them.
Exactly.
What I mean?
That's actually a standard for a lot of people. Like if you have there's people where if I've got a GTI, like one of our hosts, won't mention which one, I'll have like a simple Polo or Figo for during the week, and then it becomes the concept of a weekend car. It is actually right. That's why you find some of these people with the sports cars or the high-end cars or collector cars. Someone will sell a car that's 20 years old, but the mileage is less than 50. Because they religiously only drove it on weekends. Yeah. It's a Sunday car, and it maintains the value. So if you can afford it, it's a great idea because you put less pressure on that vehicle. And most of those cars, they use up a lot of fuel. And like if you're gonna drive it less, negotiate that with your insurance. Like Nico was saying, if it's only for weekends, hopefully they.
What car do you like, Cash?
So
for me, it's the Golf 5, but the R, the one that had the 2 exhausts.
Oh, the R32.
My guy,
That's
beautiful.
That's
3.2 liters, naturally aspirated.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something funny? So when I started working, bro, I being a young boy from Butawe, so I had interviewed for two companies, and both companies called me. The other company was based all the way in Secunda. I was like, I don't know if I want to go to Secunda. The other company was here in Johannesburg, and I was like, okay, I want this one in Johannesburg. But then the guys in Secunda made a mistake. They sent me my offer.
Yeah.
It was 350K per annum.
Shit.
I was 20 years old, going to start to work, and I saw a package of 350. My nigga, I was like, I'm going to buy
a GTI. I'm going to buy a GTI.
Needless to say, I took the job in Joburg, and it was not nearly close as 350.
Yeah.
I ended up buying a Figo.
A Focus. Yeah. And Nico, your favorite?
Nah.
I didn't know.
So I'm currently trying to talk to my CEO there at home to see on your point, I'd like to have a project car so badly, man.
Yeah.
Like I want a Golf 1. I want like a
classic.
I want like a Velocity or a Rox or a .com or whatever the case is, like a 1.6, and do it up nicely for the week and then drive my car on the weekend. But obviously the car that I love the most is a Golf 2 GTI.
Okay.
The second MK2 GTI. Yo, it's the first one that I've ever seen as a GTI, and obviously I've been a GTI fan ever since that car. Like, but the Golf 2 GTI is for me. If I ever get one, a nice one, I might surprise my wife.
Also, you can probably find them sometimes some of the cars that you might not find in South Africa if you go to like Lesotho.
Exactly. That's how I used to do.
Quick one. What is your first car?
First cars.
Yeah, you'll see some of us have been VW fans for a very long time.
My first car was a Polo.
Yeah.
Polo Bourgeois.
Mine was a 1.9 TDI Polo.
Oh yeah, we had the same. I think I had the same one. Yeah, same one.
1.9 TDI.
Yeah.
No, I had a Ford Focus. Yeah.
Many
memories of that.
He had two of the same car, same color.
That one was a facelift.
Hey. Mine was a Toyota Corolla, the RXI shape.
Oh, that's nice.
That was nice.
And then second car, Cash?
It was a E200 Mercedes.
Teaser.
I got the BMW, my boy. It had blue lights inside, my boy.
That BM.
That Beamer was fire. Executive package, bro.
Okay, I had the City Golf.
Oh yeah. Staunch VW fan.
Big time.
Yeah.
I remember the day you sold it. You're so sad, bro.
Hey, bro.
Memories, bro.
That car was old for days, bro. Good riddance.
But I think the closing thing I want to say is, like Nico and I have an immense passion for cars. It's actually funny how you can build an attachment to an inanimate object because of the memories, places you've gone, and what the car symbolizes. Especially like for the first car, like what it means to you. Like I'm sure most of us, our fathers, they've got like the old school pictures of like their cars that they bought, what it meant to them.
The one thing I actually never do is I actually never name my cars. You guys?
No, I don't do that.
Nah, I leave that for the movies. Gone in 6
Tuamalapa. Joking, cut.
That was your second car, right? What is your second car?
My second car was a GTI, man.
So
a Golf 7 GTI. No. Nothing like that.
No, I don't name cars.
I think that's
same.
Fantastic.
That's a great episode, gents.
Yeah, talking cars, gents. Thank you so much. Obviously, good topic. Thank you to the good people at VW Hatfield and Melrose Arch for having us for the day. Great. As you can see, we're not playing with you guys. Whether it's politics or cars, our topics are timely and giving you exactly what you need. It's always informative, and that's the main reason for this platform. As always, this podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you get your audio podcast. Thank you to my fellow co-hosts, to Nico, to Miza, Teaser. I am Cash, also known as the Joburg Bachelor. As always, please share, like, subscribe, pass the podcast, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thank you.
Big guys.
Cheers.